The rehearsal dinner was already in full swing when Ashley pulled me aside like she was directing traffic at a movie set. She looked flawless designer dress, perfect hair, calm smile that came from months of controlling every tiny detail of tomorrow's wedding. "Emma," she said in that tone she used when she was about to correct someone, "we need to finalize your seating for tomorrow." I blinked. My seating? She opened her leather planner like it was a legal document. "I've adjusted arrangements based on guest hierarchy. Couples get priority seating. Singles are placed toward the back for visual balance." I stared at the diagram. My name sat behind a pillar in a corner labeled Table 12. "You're putting me behind a column." "It's for photography," she replied smoothly. Singles in the front would disrupt the couple-focused aesthetic. So that was it. Not logistics. Not space. Status dotted 31. I had built a private equity firm that acquired failing companies and turned them around. But in Ashley's world, none of that mattered. I was single. And that was my entire identity, she continued, flipping a page. "Most of the front section is reserved for David's professional guests anyway. His CEO will be at table 1. That made me pause. David's CEO worked under me. And for the last 6 months, he had been trying desperately to convince my firm to acquire his struggling company, Ashley. Of course, had no idea. Emma, she added. Softer now, but still patronizing. Once you're in a serious relationship, these things won't be an issue. I nodded slowly. Of course. Makes sense. She smiled like the conversation was resolved. That night, Ashley continued her performance directing the rehearsal dinner like a general overseeing a flawless operation. Imported flowers, orchestral music, 5-star catering. Everything screamed perfection, and everywhere I looked, people praised her. She's so detail-oriented. Someone said she was born to plan events. Said someone else. No one saw the hierarchy she had quietly built into every chair placement and seating chart. The next morning, the wedding venue transformed into controlled chaos. Ashley moved through it like a commander. Clipboards, vendors, timelines, last-minute adjustments. I did exactly what she assigned me, managing single guest seating, a polite way of saying, keep them in the back. The venue itself was stunning white orchids, glowing lights, soft music that made everything feel expensive and curated. Couples filled the front rows like a carefully staged advertisement for success. And then came David's CEO. James Richardson arrived with his wife and 2 executives, dressed like men who believed they belonged at the center of everything. Ashley practically escorted them down the aisle herself. "That's David's CEO," she whispered proudly to relatives. "He's very important to David's career." I almost smiled. If only she knew how many times that very important CEO had emailed my assistant begging for another meeting soon. I was seated exactly where she planned, behind a pillar, partially hidden, surrounded by other singles who had been quietly pushed out of sight. The ceremony began. Beautiful, polished, picture-perfect. Ashley had designed every moment for maximum visual impact. Couples framed the aisle like living decorations. Cameras captured exactly what she wanted the world to see during the cocktail hour. She worked the room, proudly introducing Richardson to everyone, as if she had personally elevated his importance. "This is my father. He owns several businesses," she said brightly. "This is my uncle. He works in real estate." Richardson nodded politely, smiling the way powerful people do when they're waiting for someone more important to appear. He just didn't realize that person was sitting behind a stone pillar when he briefly ended up near me. He smiled. "Your sister has done an impressive job," he said. "David is lucky. She always commits fully to her vision." I replied lightly. He didn't recognize me either. That was fine. It would make the moment later cleaner. By the time dinner began, Ashley's social hierarchy was fully in effect. Front tables glowed with prestige. My table remained half hidden in architectural shadow. Everything was exactly as she designed it. Perfect. And completely temporary. Midway through the meal, Richardson's phone buzzed. He glanced at it, froze, then stood up. He tapped his glass. "Ladies and gentlemen," he said, voice carrying across the hall. I have an important announcement. Ashley lit up instantly. She thought this was her moment, the CEO validating her perfect. Wedding. Richardson continued, Meridian Technologies has officially been acquired. A murmur spread through the room. Ashley frowned slightly. She didn't recognize the name of the acquiring firm. I'm pleased to announce the beer, he said, turning his head toward the back of the room, and then he looked at me, Morrison Capital Partners. Silence dropped like a curtain. Ashley's expression changed instantly. Confusion first, then disbelief, then something much worse. Recognition. Richardson raised his hand toward me. And here is the founder and CEO. I stood. Slowly, I walked from behind the pillar. Every step shifted the energy in the room. Conversations stopped. Glasses paused midair. Even music felt quieter. Ashley didn't move. Richardson continued, almost proudly now. Emma Morrison built Morrison Capital from the ground up. She specializes in turning struggling companies into profitable leaders. I reached the front and accepted the microphone. Thank you, James, I said calmly. We'll begin operational review on Monday. Some restructuring will be necessary. A ripple of tension moved through the room. David swallowed hard. Restructuring? Yes, I said. Performance-based evaluation. Nothing personal. That was the moment Ashley finally spoke. You're the CEO? Yes, just that. One word. Simple. Final. The wedding didn't end after that. It just collapsed into awkward silence stretched across ours. Ashley tried to recover. She moved me to the center of attention, suddenly eager to reposition the narrative. But it was too late. The structure she had built, her hierarchy, her social order, had already cracked. Later, she pulled me aside. You should have told me, she whispered. About your company, you never asked, I said. You were busy deciding where I should sit. That landed harder than anything else. By Monday, Meridian was already undergoing restructuring. Richardson kept his position, but now reported through my firm. David's department changed dramatically. Some roles disappeared. Others shifted. Ashley panicked briefly, afraid family ties would influence decisions. They didn't. Performance did. David, surprisingly, adapted. He proved more capable once the chaos of outdated leadership was removed. And Ashley. She stopped talking about seating arrangements entirely. Because sometimes the person you quietly push to the back of the room is the one who owns the room you're standing in.